Hello, welcome back. So we learned how to create a class and create objects using that class. In this video, we're just going to go a little deep into some of the things that we wrote so that we get better understanding of that before we move forward and learn more advanced object-oriented concepts, right? The first thing I wanted to explain is this thing string that we used. We did not learn what string is before, right? We've learned about primitive types. So string is nothing but another class, just like employee. So employee is a class that we created. String is a class that is already there, available for us to use, right? It comes with Java. By looking into this, you will get understanding of, how you can create classes that you can use over and over, right? So string is a class. If you right click and do open declaration, Eclipse will open it for you and it will show you the class that was created in Java already, right? That we are using. This is a class that you can use to store, like we already saw, a string value, a series of characters, right? So that's the type we used. Instead of int double, we used a string type because name and job title can be a series of characters as opposed to just a single character, right? So that's string class. We will do another video where we will look in detail on what string class has to offer. But at this point, I just wanted to show that StringE is another class that we can use, and it's one of the most widely used classes. And I wanted to kind of explain that since we did not see the type before. So we can close this. But if you're interested, you can look through this to see what are the methods that are defined in this class. So that's string. The second thing I wanted to show is the constructor. So when we try to create, let's try to create an emp2, right? emp2 new employee. Right? Let's not give any parameters and see what happens. We saw that we saw an error, right? The constructor is not defined because if you have a constructor defined with parameters, but you are trying to create an object and want to call an empty parameter constructor, right? You may want to do this because when you create the object, you may not know what the name is going to be or job title or salary, right? So you may want to just create the object and set the values later using the set methods, right? But for that, the empty constructor is not available. To be able to do it, you need to go and create it. You can have Eclipse created. So if you click this create constructor, so Eclipse will take you to the employee class and it will create the constructor for you. Now if you come back here, the error will disappear. So if you have a parameterized constructor, this empty constructor is something that you will have to manually create. But if you have no parameterized constructor or if you have no constructor defined at all, then Java will automatically create this empty constructor, right, for you. You won't put it in the code, but it's implied. So if I just quickly comment this out, right, I'm going to comment out all the constructors, right? I'm going to save it. I'm going to quickly switch back to here where we're going to get an error because this constructor is not available anymore, but you don't get any error here. That's because if you have no constructors defined, Java will create this empty constructor automatically for you. It's kind of implied. Only when you create a constructor with parameters deliberately, you have to create this also. Java doesn't create the empty one at that point. So that's the difference I wanted to show because a constructor is not a mandatory thing that you have to create, right? If you know that you will never set the values when you create the object, you will only set at later point, then you don't need a parameterized constructor or any constructor for that matter. So that's the difference I wanted to show. So I'm gonna quickly remove the comments since we kind of like learned about it. Now the error is going to go away because the class is now, or sorry, the constructor is now available. Um, Apart from that, these private things and public, they're called access modifiers. These would be much more easier to understand when we learn about inheritance. That we're going to learn soon. But in the coming videos, we're going to learn about these access modifiers and how they kind of control, how the things are visible or not visible. So those are the things that we could not do in the previous video, kind of learn. So I wanted to do this video just to explain those things. In the next video, we're going to learn about more advanced object-oriented concepts. But This is basically it. Thanks for watching.